Now on Fox 13 News at 9, it's been 1 year since the Hamas attack on Israel started a war in the Middle East.
How Utah's Jewish community remembered the victims tonight on Utah's Capitol Hill.
Coming up, we'll talk with a state representative about alarming statistics about Utah's road rage. Why now's the time to get out in front of drivers and inform them.
Preparations are underway for the Utah Hockey Club's first ever home game. Here's what you need to know if you want to be part of these festivities.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Evans.
And I'm Kelly Chapman. Today marked 1 year since Hamas attacked Israel and the war in Gaza began. An estimated 41,800 people have been killed since then, including more than 16,000 children. Those numbers are an estimate from compiled reports by Israel, Lebanon, and Palestine. And the war is far from over. Hamas marked the day by firing rockets at Tel Aviv, and a Gaza hospital reports at least 10 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike today. Here in Utah tonight, hundreds of people turned out to show their support for Israel.
Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold was at the gathering at the Utah State Capitol.
My sister was rescued by civilians who took survivors of the massacre into their homes.
Maya Skurnick detailing how her family was impacted on October 7, 2023, the day Hamas-led militants attacked Israel.
My sister was at the Nova Music Festival. For people who don't know what this is, which apparently exists, it's a music festival that was the first site to be attacked by the Hamas terrorists that day.
Skurnick's sister Yuval survived. For Ron Zamir with the United Jewish Federation of Utah, his friends lost their son Itai during the attack.
They waited over 5 months to find out that he had actually been killed that day. And Itai, an American citizen, his body was kidnapped and is still being held in Gaza.
We've faced a significant rise.
On Monday, more than 500 supporters of Israel gathering on the south steps of the Utah State Capitol to commemorate the attack on Israel by Hamas, in which the Jewish Federation says more than 1,200 innocent lives were lost. Faith leaders in the Jewish community.
A year later, we stand before you today, together as one united Jewish community in Utah, stronger and more unified than before.
And the non-Jewish community.
On this day, when being Jewish made one a target in a way we have not seen in a very long time, you do not mourn alone.
Standing in solidarity as people in the crowd held flags and displayed pictures of those who've been kidnapped. The Jewish Federation says approximately 250 individuals were taken hostage a year ago, with more than 100 who remain captive, including a handful of Americans.
Israel's one of our most important allies in the Middle East. They're one of our most important allies in the world.
Representative Celeste Malloy with Utah's 2nd Congressional District, joined by Representative Blake Moore from the 1st Congressional District, delivering a joint statement of support by Utah's congressional delegation.
They're helping make the world a safer place while they're in a really dangerous place, surrounded by enemies. And so by standing by them, we're supporting them in helping keep us safe.
As songs were sung as the ceremony wrapped up, those in attendance spoke about their hopes for the future.
Unconditional release of the hostages and this war ends.
As for those like Skurnick, she tells me that she hopes for peace and safety for everybody in the Middle East. On the Hill, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
There were many tributes across the nation for this somber anniversary. We'll show them to you in our Path to the White House series in just a few minutes. Kel?
A road rage incident this morning in Salt Lake County left one man dead and another in jail tonight. UHP says just before 5:30 there was a collision on SR 201 near the 900 West off-ramp that resulted in one shot being fired.
Since a new state law went into effect in July, the Utah Highway Patrol has reported at least 40 road rage incidents. Fox 13 News reporter Avery Klanowski looks at today's incident and how state leaders are cracking down on road rage.
Monday morning, a road rage incident on one of Salt Lake Valley's busiest highways turned deadly.
This appears to be a road rage incident that escalated into a shooting that happened just prior to the 900 West off-ramp on 201 eastbound. We have one individual that is deceased and the other individual is in custody with law enforcement.
Thomas Long, a 44-year-old man, has been arrested and booked into Salt Lake County Jail and is being held without bail. Representative Paul Cutler, the sponsor of House Bill 30, breaks down its purpose.
I think this has been eye-opening for all of us, where we knew road rage was a problem, but the statistics indicate that it's more prevalent than we thought. So HB 30 put in place that framework where when an officer writes a ticket or arrests someone, they note whether road rage was an element in that incident.
Taking effect in July 2024, and already officials say the data is alarming.
Since July, UHP has investigated over 40 instances of road rage. Of course, not all of those instances are going to be as severe as this one.
Those convicted of road rage could see enhanced fines or potential jail time. Fines go toward a road rage education fund. Representative Cutler says it's time to get out and inform drivers.
Do preventive measures, help people understand what happens if they see road rage, what happens what they can do to prevent it.
And get people to think twice about any type of road rage situation, that not only is it dangerous for all the parties involved, but the ramifications that can happen from road rage are severe.
Asking drivers across the Beehive State to be careful on all roadways at all times.
Take it easy. You can wait. You can be 30 seconds delayed in your journey. We all need to be more courteous and drive safer.
In Salt Lake City, Avery Klanowski, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Hurricane Milton has turned into a Category 5 storm as it heads toward the southeast, which is only the beginning stages of recovering from Hurricane Helene. Milton joins Hurricane Beryl as the second Category 5 storm this season, which is considered rare. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration reports only 40 hurricanes have ever become that powerful on the Atlantic Ocean. Forecasters say Milton could decrease in severity before making landfall on Florida's Gulf Coast on Wednesday. It is expected to grow in size when it comes ashore, not far from the state's Big Bend region where Helene struck last week.
And that area of Florida, North Carolina, where last week's hurricane struck, is still in complete shambles. Breck, with this being a Category 5 hurricane, there's some major concern here.
Oh, big concerns as it maintains its Category 5 strength. Now, we've seen winds decrease just a little bit here over the past 2 or 3 hours, previously at 180 miles per hour, now 165. But being fed by the warm waters the Gulf of Mexico as it continues to track to the east, it should maintain a Category 5, but still models showing that it will weaken somewhat before it reaches the Gulf Coast of Florida. But as you can see, hurricane warnings as we look along that from Tampa to Fort Myers. That's kind of the target zone, but it looks like we still have hurricane watches as you move inland because it should maintain its hurricane strength before it reaches the east coast of Florida. But right now in its position, let's go through its track where, again, maintaining its strength at a Category 5 until tomorrow. And then as it moves closer, it looks like it'll be downgraded to a 4 and moving onshore, models showing at a Category 3. And that's as we look into Wednesday evening as it moves inland and tracks across Florida. As it maintains its strength as a hurricane before it exits Florida and moves over towards the Atlantic. So we're definitely going to be keeping our eye on that. And with that, storm surge possibilities upwards of 10 to almost 20 feet from Tampa to Fort Myers. Of course, we'll be giving you the latest forecasts on that. And of course, be talking about what we're expecting here across the state coming up in a bit.
Preparations at the Delta Center are underway for the festivities and the Utah Hockey Club's regular season home opener against the Chicago Blackhawks. But there is something special for the fans before the game.
Very special, and you're invited. Fox 13 News reporter Maithili Gooby shows us how the big event is coming together.
Roads are closed, the stage is almost ready, and the giant puck has dropped outside the Delta Center.
Let's go! Kill it! Take
Score
names.
lots of points.
Fans like the Hudsons are ready to welcome the Utah Hockey Club ahead of the first game of the season on Tuesday.
It should be a blast to hang out and see what's going on.
The festivities start at 4 p.m. with a free outdoor event featuring a concert, games, food trucks, DJs, and an interactive fan experience.
And this is a historic day for Utah and Salt Lake City, and we're excited to welcome hockey. And so we just want people to, again, enjoy the festivities safely, and if you see anything, say something. That's our big message.
Salt Lake City police officers will be managing traffic, patrolling the area, and want people to be safe.
One of the things that we encourage people to do is to remember that if you are involved in a fight or an altercation, or if you see something that just doesn't feel right, try to safely separate yourselves.
Fences are in place and there are some road closures as well. Both South Temple and 100 South between 400 West and 300 West will be partially closed, and 300 West between South Temple and 100 South will be closed.
Well, it doesn't always make sense to close the road, but in this case where we have a lot of great alternate routes and people can still get around that closure with a fair amount of ease, it makes a lot of sense for just as big of a night as this is in Utah sports history.
So after the concert and all the fun fan experience activities outside the Delta Center, this area transforms into a watch party. So even if you don't have a ticket, you can stay back to watch the game on the big screen.
It's important to me. Sometimes I don't always have money to go to games and stuff like that, so just to celebrate with people who are good environment and cheering loud and just smiling and dancing and the whole 9 yards. It's fun.
Because parking can be tricky with lots of people in downtown and road closures too, UTA wants to encourage people to use public transit, saying, quote, "Our standard level of service has always worked well for Jazz fans, and we are confident that the combination of frontrunner, bus, and tracks will get everyone to the game to see the first puck drop. They do want people to plan ahead and are prepared with additional vehicles if needed." There is so much joy around bringing hockey to Utah.
Oh, we've been waiting, finally. Now we don't have to drive to Nevada or somewhere else. We can just stay in the home state of Utah.
In downtown Salt Lake City, I am Maithili Gobi, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Fox 13 News will have live team coverage of the inaugural game and community celebration all day tomorrow. You can catch all the action and memorable moments on air and online at fox13now.com.
Now, that first game of the season is televised nationally, but we need to let you know about TV coverage starting this Thursday. Most games will be broadcast on our partner station, Utah 16.
However, Comcast viewers will not be able to see the games. In fact, they won't be able to see any Utah 16 programming. Scripps Sports president Brian Lawler did release this statement this afternoon saying, quote, "Tuesday marks a historic day in Utah, and Scripps Sports is very disappointed that Comcast has chosen not to give its subscribers access to Utah 16, the broadcast home of the Utah Hockey Club."
Despite our repeated attempts to work with Comcast to provide this channel to the residents of Utah, Comcast has made it clear that broadcasting a Utah Hockey Club is not a priority for them, he says. We encourage Comcast subscribers to call Comcast and let them know they want access to Utah 16 and all non-nationally exclusive local Utah Hockey Club games. Fortunately, fans can still watch Utah Hockey Club games over the air with a digital antenna on channel 16.1, on Utah Hockey Club's streaming service, Utah HC Plus, on streaming service Fubo, on DirecTV channel 16, and multiple other cable outlets.
For our first game this Thursday, we at Fox 13 are taking an unprecedented step of simulcasting the game here on Fox 13 in addition to Utah 16. That will take place this coming Thursday night. The Utah Hockey Club pregame show airs from 5 to 5:30. The game is scheduled for 5:30 to 8 p.m., followed by a postgame show at approximately 8 o'clock on Fox 13 and Utah 16. Then an early edition of Fox 13 News at 9 will begin right after the postgame show. That's happening this Thursday.
On tonight's Fox 13 News at 9, their first home opener is less than a day away. We've been talking all about it, but two members of the Utah Hockey Club spent their morning with elementary students. We'll show you why.
The NHL is about to kick off in Utah, but it's not the first time hockey's been in Salt Lake City. We'll take a look back at the Golden Eagles and a man that was there for their first game, too.
And with the Utah Hockey Club breaking the ice with a new season and a new fan base, I had the chance to meet another supporting team that makes sure the ice is ready for game time.
Tomorrow's the big day for the Utah Hockey Club. Coming up, we'll hear from Ryan and Ashley Smith and a couple players as they get ready for the season opener against the Chicago Blackhawks.
Tonight, in our Path to the White House series, those on the campaign trail took a moment to pay their respects to the victims of the Israel-Hamas war.
Scripps News anchor Maritza Giorgio reports.
On the anniversary of the deadly October 7th attacks in Israel, Vice President Kamala Harris, former President Donald Trump, and their running mates participated in events to memorialize those killed. In Washington, the vice president planted a tree at the official vice presidential residence to honor the victims of the attacks. Harris was accompanied by her husband, Doug Emhoff, the first Jewish spouse of a president or vice president.
And on this solemn day, I will restate my pledge to always ensure that Israel has what it needs to defend itself.
Trump began his day in New York City visiting the grave of Rabbi Menahem Mendel Schneerson, one of the most important Jewish spiritual leaders in modern history. Later, Trump gave remarks at a remembrance event at his resort near Miami.
We never thought we'd see it, and we certainly never thought we'd see it in this country. And a lot of that has to do with the leadership of this country.
Trump's running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, attended an October 7th memorial rally on the National Mall and criticized President Biden and Vice President Harris for not yet securing a deal to release hostages still being held by Hamas. Harris's running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, paid his respects at the Nova exhibition in California, an installation remembering the music festival where more than 380 people were killed by Hamas terrorists. Maritza Giorgio, Scripps News.
This morning, two members of the Utah Hockey Club spent time with some of their youngest fans.
Utah Hockey Club captain Clayton Keller and Senator Barrett Hayton were special guests as fifth graders unfurled and hoisted the hockey club's flag to fly above David Gorley Elementary in Kearns. More than 600 flags were sent by the club to every public elementary school in the state in an effort to connect with new fans. Well, they're doing that right.
Fun, yeah.
Fun?
What a way to advertise. The hockey club is here.
I know. I think we've all become fans, right?
Yes, we
Before we
have.
even had this regular season opener.
Yeah, tomorrow, I think that big party pre-puck drop is going to be pretty fun.
Oh.
And the weather is going to be perfect for an outdoor party.
I know, because nothing's changing, right? You all could be weather forecasters the way this trend's going. Just kind of copy and paste the next day where we've got 80s, sunny skies. What can I say? Like to shake it up, but Mother Nature does not want to. Keeping up this end of summer heat where, of course, over the weekend 80s, last week 90s. Now I want to just give you an update where as we give you a view from Deer Valley looking across Jordan now, look at the right of your screen. You're seeing that orange glow. That's the Yellow Lake fire still burning. Of course, we've been talking about it where it's expanded over the weekend. It really just grew in size, 16,000 acres. Looking at current conditions where earlier we had some stronger winds. Right now it is calm. Temperatures near the fire at 50 degrees. Humidity up just a bit. Of course, as temperatures do cool off, humidity goes up. Notice a little bit of green. That's radar where throughout the afternoon we have some upper level moisture producing. Not really rain that's falling, but again, it's an indication that we're bringing in some clouds. And as we give you a wider viewpoint, we've got some upper level moisture that's tracking through the state. This will bring some cloud cover. The question is, will we see some rain? It has been quite some time since we've seen any rain here across northern Utah. It's almost been 20 days, but we've been enjoying the beautiful weather and the fall colors. Photo coming up on our Facebook page. This is Farmington looking over towards the Great Salt Lake. It's absolutely beautiful, but today's high 84, getting close as you see the record set back in 1979. Of course, we're no strangers to record-breaking temperatures. We've been getting a lot of it lately. Don't see that we'll be getting close to record-breaking, but definitely getting close in that we are going to see temperatures remain in the 80s. Though currently right now, Salt Lake City 68 degrees, 70 in Ogden. Provo, you're in the low 60s. Here are your headlines where holding steady, high pressure still the dominating weather influence here across the region. Clouds a little bit. There's a slight chance of maybe seeing a sprinkle for tomorrow. It's mainly across the mountains of central into southern Utah, but no big shakeups here. We're going to keep it kind of steady here, reflecting past, or I should say back over the past 7 days where 70s, 80s, even 90s. Now holding true to those 80s. And as we look ahead from the Climate Prediction Center, nothing really changing 6 to 10 days out, above average temperatures here throughout the region. So we're definitely going to be looking at still warmer temperatures to remain as high pressure doesn't allow these cool fronts to directly hit the state, staying north of the state, but we get clipped in that we'll bring in some clouds, some slightly cooler temperatures. But as for tomorrow, we'll be looking at partly cloudy conditions. You're seeing a little bit of green. That's those sprinkles hitting the mountains. Once that moves on, it looks like we'll be dry heading into Wednesday and see maybe some clouds return on Thursday. Tonight, though, partly cloudy conditions. You can see your overnight lows not quite as cool because of that cloud cover. Tomorrow, some clouds in place, isolated mountain showers. It's 80s once again throughout most of the region, upper 70s in Price and mid 90s in St. George, where it's all 90s. A lot of sunshine, a little bit more cloud cover through the weekend with another cool front that looks to drop temperatures Sunday and Monday down into the 80s. Northern Utah, it's all 80s. Into the weekend, it's clear. Many of you on fall break. Slight chance of maybe seeing some rain on Sunday, and that is it. So again, we keep this trend going with no big changes. We'll be back right after the break.
Welcome back, everyone. Tonight, in observance of Fire Prevention Week, the Draper City Fire Department hosted a free fire prevention night event at Draper Park. Firefighters there hosted several fun activities for children and adults, all in an effort to drastically decrease casualties caused by fires.
We've brought out multiple different burn props to educate them on fire behavior. We've got a fire extinguisher prop to educate them on how to use fire extinguishers. We've got medical props where we're teaching push to survive CPR and then stop the bleed. So basic CPR and basic first aid.
This year's Fire Prevention Week theme is smoke alarms. Make them work for you.
Tonight in Provo, the young Latina group Aya Rises hosted a STEM workshop at the Grandview Learning Center. Middle and high school students who attended could make arts and crafts and learn about college scholarships.
They're never too young to start applying for them, and there are so many out there. So we're excited to help the girls start their fund for college or university as they pursue that as well.
Find a link to register for activities hosted by Aya Rises on their Instagram page. There is a $45 participation fee for the year.
As the NHL is about to kick off in Utah, one man reminisces about the first time he saw hockey way back in 1969. We'll have that story ahead.
The Cam Rising question continues, will he play or not? And when does it become the point where they move on for the rest of the season? We'll hear from Kyle Whittingham on that issue coming up.
Rebound, Harudi covers up once more, and now we have a scrap brewing in front. It is Mark Bassett and a Salt Lake.
The Salt Lake Golden Eagles represent the foundation of hockey in Utah.
That's why we are back to action here at the Delta Center. Jubana fakes the shot, then lets it go.
As far as professional and amateur hockey, you have to owe a big part of that to the success the Golden Eagles had here in Salt Lake.
A new era of hockey history begins tonight.
A new era of hockey. Those words today mean as much as they did back in 1969. I'm Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph, and today we're taking a look back at firsts, as seen through the eyes of one man who was there for all of them.
They were an expansion team in the old Western Hockey League, which was a AAA level hockey league, and it was just a big hit with Utah sports fans, and it just built a very solid base of fans.
Dave Suter might be one of the only Utahns who has an interesting claim to fame.
I was there for the first Golden Eagles game. I was there for the first Utah Grizzlies game. and I'll be here for the first regular season Utah Hockey Club game.
A full circle moment that started 55 years ago in October of 1969.
And my dad was excited to take me and my brother to a hockey game. So he took us to the very first game, and after that I was hooked.
Hooked is a bit of an understatement.
So I never really sought to collect a lot of stuff. The main thing that I wanted to collect were pucks and jerseys.
His collection including pretty much everything from hockey history in Utah, right down to the chair he's sitting in.
I didn't realize I had so much stuff, but I do.
Even a few things that you might not be able to see anywhere else.
These things are rare. It's really kind of hard to get your hands on something like this nowadays. And in the corner there is a championship player jacket. Gordon Bynock, who was an ex-player for the Golden Eagles. I got that from him.
But his love of the Golden Eagles went beyond just things.
And that led to coaching, and that led to being on state board for high school, Utah Amateur Hockey. I worked for the Golden Eagles and the Utah Grizzlies. Was a scorekeeper for ice hockey during the Olympics. And I've been involved in hockey in one way or another pretty steadily since that time.
The franchise lasted from 1969 to 1994, when the team played their last game at the Delta Center. But the impact the team had goes far beyond the players and the stats and even the stuff. They paved the way for the future.
It is kind of a full circle thing. All these years, probably sometime in the mid-90s, I've thought, I think we can support an NHL club here.
And to the kids who will again witness history with the first NHL game in Utah,
I would say just go for it. You know, get some skates, get your mom and dad to get you, equipped.
So from the Golden Eagles to the Grizzlies to the hockey club and beyond, for Dave, there's no doubt hockey belongs in the Beehive State.
The great thing about it is now we'll develop a solid fan base for the Utah Hockey Club.
Spencer Joseph.
It's going to be a fun ride.
Fox 13 News.
Exciting to be a part of it.
Utah.
Well, the Eagles...
The good old days.
Do you remember?
Yes, I do, vaguely. It's a long time
It's been
ago,
a long
but I
time.
do remember it.
A new era starts tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
here in Utah.
right here.
Well, tonight we're learning more about a highly anticipated study that could end up influencing how much you ultimately pay for water.
Fox 13 News was at a meeting of the Utah Water Task Force today where we got a preview of a new study on water and property taxes. You pay a monthly water bill, but a lot of your water use is actually covered by your property taxes. The study makes some recommendations.
One is that we don't wholesale remove property taxes. Property taxes serve a purpose. That being said, if there were changes to it as far as whether we limit it or change it, then that there's a long runway.
The report also found something interesting about nonprofit entities such as churches, cities, and schools. They don't pay property taxes, but do pay for water. The study will be formally released later this week. Expect legislative hearings and perhaps another bill on property taxes and water in the upcoming legislative session.
The Salt Lake County Council will sign a resolution pledging to preserve Abravanel Hall. At its meeting tomorrow, the council will advance the resolution. It commits to long-term preservation and improvements at Symphony Hall. It's been swept up in plans for a new sports, arts, and entertainment district tied to plans to remodel the Delta Center for the Utah Jazz and Utah Hockey Club.
Here's your chance to get your hands on a rare and elusive liquor for relatively cheap. It's because of a loophole in Utah liquor laws. Pappy Van Winkle and Sazerac bourbons sell for thousands of dollars a bottle in other states. But because Utah is a liquor control state, it's legally mandated to be sold at a cost plus 88.5% markup. That means a Pappy Van Winkle 23-year-old bourbon that sells for $5,000 elsewhere sells for about $500 here in Utah. You no longer have to hunt around the liquor store to find it. The DABS has created an online drawing. To sign up, visit abs.utah.gov.
Oh, what a deal there. Okay, you are getting new choices for air travel from Utah, where you can fly directly from the Provo Airport.
And a tribute in art to Utah's LGBTQ community. Today was a big step for the Provo Airport. This morning, American Airlines held its inaugural flight out of Provo. You can now fly directly from Provo to Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport and Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport.
So important because it does multiple things for all of us, not just the city of Provo, but the whole county. It lifts our economy. It brings people in. They spend their dollars, which helps our taxes. It makes us so that we are a more vibrant community.
The airport already offers flights from Allegiant Air and Breeze Airways.
The latest edition of Utah Tech University's Trailblazer Art in the City project is looking to be a meaningful tribute to the LGBTQ community. This bison statue looks blank now. Well, that one already painted, but when a fresh, clean one is complete, it will be entitled Love Fearlessly, and it will be covered in rainbow circles with 20 phrases meant to encourage tolerance for people within the LGBTQ community.
We need to have compassion for everyone. Everyone is a person, and my belief personally is we're all children of God, and so I feel like we should show compassion to everyone.
So far, people have raised $8,000 for this project. There's the blank bison right there. Soon it will be all painted up. The group does need $4,000 more to cover the cost of the installation. Come November, it will find a home at Encircle, which is a safe house in St. George for LGBTQ youth and their families.
Well, take a look at your current temperatures here across northern and northeastern Utah. It's mainly 60s, holding on to the 80s though in St. George. Still feeling this end of summer heat, but when does it begin to feel like fall? I'll answer that coming up after the break.
The Fox Big Noon kickoff is coming to Provo this Saturday. Kalani Sitake will tell us what that means to the BYU football program. And the Jazz played their second preseason game tonight. Did they make it 2 wins in a row? The highlights are on the way.
It's an exciting time as the Utah Hockey Club breaks the ice and launching a new season and a new fan base. I'm Breck Bolton here in Kearns in front of the Utah Olympic Oval, where the team has been practicing to get ready for the season. But there's another team here ready to hit the rink to make sure the ice is always ready.
With them on the ice, you know, they're bigger guys, they dig into the ice more, there's a lot more chewing up of the ice, if you will. So we'll have to go about every 30 minutes, 45 minutes when they're doing ice sessions.
Todd Porter, general manager of the Utah Olympic Oval, keeps his Zamboni drivers on alert to take to the ice for a quick 10-minute treatment to resurface. At a cost of $100,000 per machine, this ice resurfacer, another name for a Zamboni, is what this machine does with all of its levers, motors, and wheels. Even though they wouldn't let me take the wheel, the crew allowed me to ride along to get a feel of how this machine works. As a former amateur hockey player, and with the hope of being an NHL referee, Carter enjoys his time on the ice, making sure the rink is game ready. So how many times a day do you have to do this? You do this for the Utah Hockey Club and then for other?
We do it about 3 to 4 times for the Utah Hockey Club. And we do it about every hour for our recreational groups and our adult leagues, about every hour to hour and a half. So probably about 15 times total a day. With that many reps, the drivers get the training to take the big stage in being able to clear the ice at professional hockey games. In the final stage of the Zamboni, laying down water to create that shiny new layer of ice, the kind of water is crucial in making sure the ice is ready for hockey skates. Depends on like the blades and the power and what they're doing. The reverse osmosis water, if you're bigger and stronger and doing a sprint type of event, it can break away in sheets and it chips a lot. so they're going to want the ice that bonds better together, and it bonds better when it has impurities or minerals or even a little bit of dirt in it. It's the Kearns water, but it's not dirty. It's just we haven't cleaned it and put it through our purification system. And then actually on the hockey rink, we do a mix of both.
With that right mix of Utah water, the Zamboni and the trained drivers won't allow the Utah Hockey Club to be skating on thin ice. But as the players do break up the ice, the team of drivers will be ready to repair it before, during, and after the game. Reporting from Kearns, Breck Bolton, Fox 13 News, Utah.
So how does that thing really work? I mean, what is it doing to the ice?
Well, it kind of cuts it up with a little auger and then funnels it up. So it's almost like snow, melts it, recirculates it back. They call it conditioning.
Yeah.
And then it puts that water down. With that blade, it pushes it along. Of course, there's coolant on the ice, and then so it freezes and creates that nice, level, new, smooth.
Slick.
And they do that after
surface.
every period, of course. As those skaters are out there just chipping at that ice, they
Right.
got to resurface
Yeah.
that and get it ready. So
Did they let you drive it?
no, that's the thing.
What?
I thought I was going to do it. They said,
That's an
liability.
expensive machine.
Yes.
Besides,
It's $100. That's the minimum cost. Some can cost up to $200,000.
Breck doesn't have his Zamboni license.
License, yeah.
But
He's got to work on that.
But they are looking for new drivers. So
Are they?
if
Well,
that
maybe
is
you
a
can
job
get a
of
learner's
interest,
permit.
maybe
Maybe
so.
get a learner's
There you
permit.
go.
There you go.
Plan B, right?
All right. Yeah,
Okay.
you got to have something to fall back
Yes,
on,
you
right?
do.
Okay.
All right, since we're talking about ice, do you want to talk about when do you think we'll get our first freeze here in Salt
It's got to
Lake
be at
City?
least a week or two out.
Yeah.
At least.
At least, right? Wonder if we're ever going to get it. Let's talk about what we're seeing right now. Let's take a look at the long-range freeze risk. For Salt Lake City, no surprise, it's a very low risk. Now, here's some of the important dates as we talk about that first freeze in Salt Lake City, where on average we usually get it not too far along here, October 19th. Now, the earliest we've seen the freeze in Salt Lake City, September 13th. The latest is November 17th. Boy, it feels like the way we're going, that's going to be the case where we don't see anything close to freezing temperatures here, at least in Salt Lake City. Now, St. George right now, 81 degrees. You had highs throughout the afternoon into the 90s. Salt Lake City still holding on to the upper 60s, where today's highs once again reaching the mid 80s. These are temperatures, as I've been saying, that we typically experience in the first part of September. Now, that's talking about temperature-wise. What about seeing a chance of precipitation? Any rain in the forecast? Doesn't look good here for St. George. Doesn't look like we'll see much of a chance. Now, here across northern Utah, specifically in Provo, weekend, there is a possibility that we might see a very weak system that could produce just a little bit of rain. Doesn't look like it'll have an impact, though, as we look down in Provo getting ready for the game on Saturday. It's mainly towards Sunday that we see that chance. But high pressure, still, it is just this ridge that we cannot break down. Even though some storms with cool fronts, they leak through, but they just do not stay organized and they don't have a big impact across the state. So we get little drops in temperatures, but we're back on the rise, and that's what we see over the next few days. We're going to bring in a few more clouds. We have some clouds and some upper level moisture that'll be tracking through. That could give rise to a very isolated mountain shower. Probably not much of the rain hitting the ground. That's a little bit of concern because we get that convection. If the rain falls and evaporates, it can produce some gusty winds, and that's potentially a possibility over the Uinta Mountains. So definitely keeping our eye on that Yellow Lake fire. Central, southwestern Utah, there's a threat of an isolated shower, but again, it's mainly over the higher terrain. And if we do produce anything, it'll be very little rain. Actually, no rain, at least what the models are showing here for St. George over the next several days. A few days where we might see a little bit more cloud cover. It's Friday through Saturday, and then Sunday into Monday, where another front hitting that drops temperatures at least down into the upper 80s, but still well above average. Wasatch Front, we hold on to the 80s through the weekend. Partly cloudy skies Thursday and Friday. I mentioned that front that hits over the weekend, producing about a 20% chance of an isolated shower. We drop down barely below 80 degrees on Sunday, but back to 80 degrees for Monday. So no big shake up there. Slight chance of rain, but we're going to hold on to these warm temperatures still for the next several days.
Tomorrow is the big day for the Utah Hockey Club as they play their first NHL regular season game at home against the Chicago Blackhawks. Been a wild 5.5 months for Ryan and Ashley Smith and the Smith Entertainment Group to be ready for this moment. A surprise or two may pop up between now and then, but they're going to take it all in.
We don't know what we don't know, so we're not going to brace for impact and not experience the fun of tomorrow. And I hope all the fans are able to do that too, because it'll be learning for all of us. So.
Yeah, I think we're just excited. I hope everyone gets a chance to take in this moment in history. Like, that's my biggest fear, is that like we don't like sit back and actually go, and we don't do that very well, and say, this is a moment. So I hope everyone takes a selfie and like sends it to someone.
Utah fans are excited about it. So are the players. We caught up with a couple of them after today's practice before they play their first NHL game in front of the home crowd.
We're looking forward to it. That first preseason game we had there was pretty special, and I think tomorrow's going to blow that right out of the water. Everyone's so excited, like I said, and we're looking forward to it.
This has never really happened before, and I think when we're done playing, we can look back and see. And it was pretty cool. It was our first year, so I think there's going to be a lot of buzz. But at the end of the day, it's game one, and for us to have a push and try to make the playoffs, every game is important. So we got to make sure that we start on time.
14th ranked BYU will host Arizona on Saturday, and you can watch that game on Fox 13. In fact, the Big Noon Kickoff show will be in Provo with the Cougars undefeated at 5-0.
I'm glad that there's a lot of attention that we're having Fox come in and be part of the festivities because I want to show off our fans. It's great for everybody, and I want our players to embrace the excitement, the energy, but you embrace it by going to work. Stay humble, work hard, get better. That's what we got to do.
16th ranked Utah will play at Arizona State on Friday, and they're hoping Cam Rising will be able to play after missing the last 3 games with an injury. But at some point, they may have to move on from Cam and focus on freshman Isaac Wilson.
There is a point. I'm not going to pin ourselves down to an exact specific time, but as things progress, and then also the conference race, where are you in the conference race? There's some things that enter into it, but it certainly could come to that point, but we're not there yet.
The Jazz played their second preseason game tonight against the Houston Rockets. John Collins, the alley-oop to Taylor Hendricks, big finish at the rim. How about this pass? Collins between his legs to Lauri Markkanen. Yeah, how about that? And this other look. And then the looking glass. The Jazz won the game 122-113. Nice. Former Weaver State star Rashid Shaheed keeps making big plays for the New Orleans Saints. 43-yard touchdown reception tonight against Kansas City. The Chiefs still won the game 26-13. I got my phone ready for tomorrow's selfies.
Oh, do you?
At the hockey game.
At the hockey
Ryan
game.
says he hopes we take some selfies. So there you go.
There we go.
We will be there. Okay, so we're also going to be there. Look for the Fox 13 tent outside the Delta Center for the big celebration. We'll have a photo booth.
Oh, wow.
Really
Yes,
cool,
so
with
no
the
need
backdrop.
for selfies because we're happy to take pictures with it.
It's going to be great.
We'll wear our smiles.
Yeah.
Always got it.
We'll be right back.
The Utah Hockey Club doesn't have a mascot yet, but they do have a stand-in, a stunt double for whoever the mascot will be, and guess who it is?
Well, there's a clue.
There's a clue right there. Jazz Bear's going to fill in.
Oh, there you go.
Until they come up with a real one. And see, they even gave him his own jersey.
Oh, well, that'll be fun. Look for him tomorrow. Hey, before we let you go, happy birthday to you.
Very nice.
Jeff Raniere.
Yeah, turned 35 again.
35 once again.
Very nice.
Thank you very much.
We're so glad you were born.
Happy to be here.
Hope it was a great day.
It was.
I hear a big party is being thrown for you tomorrow.
There is a big party at the Delta Center. It's amazing.
That's all for you.
Everyone's invited.
Yeah. And then they'll play
You
hard.
got to pay a ticket, though.
Quick Cast is next. Stick around.